Do you think that the Karolys knew what Larry was doing?
It's hard for me to believe that they didn't. I also think they just honestly did not care. They didn't. I'm sure they didn't even ask, how are the athletes doing? What are their injuries? I'm sure they just didn't care.
That was former elite gymnast Maddie Larson telling Martha earlier this year about what happened behind closed doors at the famed Karoly Ranch and the abuse by former team doctor Larry Nassar. And now the most powerful couple in USA Gymnastics history is responding. In depositions obtained exclusively by CNN, Bella and Marta Karoly said that they had very little to do with the day-to-day operation of the ranch, which was a required training facility for those with Olympic dreams. Former national team coordinator Marta Karoly saying, quote, well, he was hired by USA Gymnastics. He definitely wasn't hired by me or reported to me. This as there are disturbing new developments at Michigan State University, where Nassar was employed for nearly 20 years. His former boss, William Strample, has been charged with sexual misconduct of his own. He is the first person to be arrested as part of the probe into the school's failure to follow up on warnings about Nassar's sexual behavior. This comes as a new report alleges the university paid $500,000 to spy on victims of Larry Nassar, paying a PR firm to track the social media activity of those surrounding the Nassar case. Here now, Rachael Denhollander. She is the first woman to publicly accuse Nassar of abuse at MSU. Rachael, thank you for coming on tonight.
Thank you for having me.
There are many new developments in this story, all very close to home for you. As we understand it, your family was spied upon.
That's correct. My husband's social media was tracked. The only reason that mine couldn't be was because I had set all of mine to private, because the only other person to try to track my social media profile other than Michigan State University was my pedophile abuser and his defense attorneys. So
$500,000, that is a lot of people, time, money, resources thrown at spying on the victims. Why would they do this?
I think it's very clear why they did this. MSU's priority from the very beginning has been institutional protectionism. It has been to attack and to vilify and to shame the victims. It had only been a matter of weeks after I filed my police report that one of the Board of Trustees members went on public television and called us ambulance chasers who were looking for a payday. It was within 24 hours of my graphic testimony coming out that Dean Strample was literally mocking what I said, mocking my police report, mocking my testimony, all the way up to the MSU provost. And it didn't bother anyone at MSU that was the way they were responding to sexual harassment on MSU's campus. At every possible turn, MSU has sided with the abuser, and they have used the exact same tactics against the survivors that Larry and his defense attorneys used.
How did you finally find out about this spying?
There were records that were obtained by local journalists.
It's unbelievable. It's a New York PR firm, $517,000, 1,400 hours of work, 18 different employees, some of them getting paid $200 to $600 an hour. I know that you have said in the past that actions speak louder than words. Mm-hmm. And as you see this situation trying to heal and the victims trying to heal, and you now learn things like this, what does it tell you about the progress that is being made?
There is absolutely no progress being made. In fact, MSU is walking in the opposite direction. 18 months ago, they had the opportunity, when all of this broke, to do the right thing, to take leadership, to be the first institution in the country that said this matters, and we're going to find out why this happened. And instead, they circled the wagons, they vilified the victims, they shamed the victims, they attacked our character and our motivations. That has not changed. Just a few weeks ago, the interim president, Engler, testified before the Michigan Higher Education Committee, and he told a lot of the exact same lies about our character and our motivations as related to the legislative package that I had put forward. MSU has continued their pursuit of institutional protectionism from day one to the present day.
You were the last one to confront Larry Nassar in court, and as we led into this, we also made sure everybody know that you have been a leader in this. You were the first woman to publicly accuse him. How are you feeling today, knowing that he is behind bars for the rest of his life? Obviously, learning things like this about being spied upon by a PR firm hired by the university doesn't help things. But how are you doing? And are you talking to the other gymnasts?
It has been an incredibly grievous process, because what has become more and more apparent through the last 18 months is that we as sexual assault victims not only couldn't trust Larry, we couldn't trust anyone who surrounded Larry. And we still can't. The very people who should have been protecting us as children were active in concealing and covering up the abuse. And we're really dealing with this situation now. MSU's internal reports, where they were tracking the social media profiles, complained that my husband was one of the ringleaders in the social media war. And the reason that he had to be was because MSU wasn't taking leadership. MSU wasn't doing what they should have done. They should have been grieving. They should have been pouring time and resources and energy into finding out how they could have the worst sexual assault scandal in campus history right there. And instead, they were preoccupied with trying to dig up dirt on the survivors. At the exact time they were doing this, we had 256 women coming into court to confront their abuser. And MSU was more preoccupied with protecting the institution and digging up dirt on the victims, or trying to dig up dirt on the victims, than they were at finding out why there was a pedophile flourishing on their campus abusing little girls for 20 years.
Such a difficult story, and I'm sure it's so difficult for you to talk to it, but you have been a leader through this and inspired others to come forward, and we appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you. The best to you and your family.